Ghost in the Shell is a manga turned anime movie turned TV show turned sequel turned miniseries and now live action film. Starring Scarlett Johansson, she plays Major, the result of an experiment by Henka, the world's leading developer of augmentative technology, to see if they could create a mechanical body, or shell, to host a human brain instead of an AI using the brain of Mira Killian, a victim of a bioterrorist attack. The experiment is a success, and the Henka CEO Cutter orders to have her trained as a counter-terrorism operative, attaining the rank of Major in the Anti-Terrorism Bureau Section 9. As events unfold, Major starts having flashes of old memories as she slowly discovers that what she knows about who she is may not be the truth. The first thing you'll notice, and is easily the film's greatest strength, is its visuals. From the design of Neo Tokyo itself to the action scenes, the movie sure looks pretty. Being a mesh of cyberpunk and other sci-fi standards, there's never a point where your eyes aren't treated to some beautiful shots and stunning cinematography. And it should go without saying, yes, Scarlett Johansson in a skin-tight naked robot body is nice to look at. The bad part about this is that the visuals may be the only outstanding part of the movie. Before even getting into the whole casting controversy, fans of the original Ghost in the Shell may be disappointed. The movie pretty much hits all the parts you may remember, the geishas, the spider tank, etc., but it doesn't follow the original 100%. Essentially, this Ghost in the Shell is a bit more of a slimmed down version, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. To those who haven't seen the original Ghost in the Shell, and to those in general, the story isn't bad, it's just not anything particularly groundbreaking. Ghost in the Shell is essentially the story of an amnesiac gaining her memories, solving a conspiracy, and follows a rather predictable path. For example, though the plot may have you think the villain is a supposed terrorist, the revelation that he's not the real villain, but the CEO of Henka, is something that's pretty obvious and again predictable. However, that doesn't make the movie a boring watch. The visuals do help elevate the story in the way it's told. Scenes like the one of Major deep diving into a geisha is a nice visual representation of hacking, even if hacking is nothing like that, and something that still sticks in my mind. There's also the action scenes. While not necessarily mind-blowing, the action is competent and well shot, such as the scene of the main character fighting in water while invisible. Reminded me a lot of the Perseus fight in God of War 2. The supporting cast is good as well. Palu Asbach, I probably butchered that guy's name, but he played Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones and plays Batu. Beat Takashi Kitano plays Daisuke Aramaki, as well as an appearance by Juliette Binoche as Dr. Owlette. All play their characters well, but the movie is still very much a Scarlett Johansson vehicle. Bato only occasionally joins Major on missions, and everybody else is just really a supporting role. Michael Carmen Pitt as the villain Kuz was well done, especially when he first reveals himself to Major. The way he walked and talked really gave the impression of a man trapped in a robot body. Shout out to the special effects in that regard. While this live-action Ghost in the Shell wasn't all that bad, it also wasn't really that spectacular either. Other than the visuals, nothing really sticks out. Not to mention the movie doesn't even go that deep with its themes. Once Major gets her memories back, nothing else really happens. No one questions, apparently, if putting a human brain inside a robot is a good idea, for example. No discussion of when we move towards a technology evolution, if we still have our humanity, or if replacing ourselves with robotics makes us lose our humanity. Just an amnesia mystery that never really goes off a predictable path. Then there's the whole whitewashing controversy. It is a shame that Hollywood feels as though it needs to put white people in a movie in order for it to sell. On the other hand, this movie isn't really so spectacular that having an Asian lead would have really helped. But people who use the argument that she's inside a robot body and could have been anybody are missing the point. In the greater movie scene, there are not a lot of roles for Asian actors, and when Hollywood does make a movie in which an Asian actor could star in the lead role, they still give it to a white person. It's just something more people are aware of now. Also, the movie may think it's smart by having the character originally be Japanese, but be put in a white body as some kind of self-awareness gimmick, but it just comes off as tone deaf. Having the character be Japanese, but not have a Japanese actor throughout the movie just highlights the problem more than if they otherwise would have just not have had that twist. Yes, it technically makes sense from a story perspective, but doesn't win any favors. Scarlett Johansson still does a good job, even if I wouldn't say this was one of her best roles, and like I said earlier, her in a skin-tight bodysuit wasn't the worst thing to look at. Ghost in the Shell is Hollywood's first foray into a live-action anime and sets a precedent. The success or failure of this movie could determine if Hollywood considers anime a viable source for adaptations and source material. As a movie, it's fine. If it ever went on Netflix, I would recommend a watch, but it's far from a must-see. The visuals are its best asset, while everything else is passable. The whitewashing is something to be aware of, but doesn't really affect this movie in a big way. Predictable and nothing I haven't seen before, but thanks to its visuals saves it from being too ho-hum. 3 out of 5 stars.